Stan, thanks for being here today. Appreciate you coming out and supporting us. Mostly going to be talking about you. Could you give us your full name and what branch of military you served in and from when to when?
My name is Stanley Moore. I was in the United States Marine Corps from May of 1944. I got out a couple of times and I retired in May of 1970.
And you were always in the Marine Corps? You do any Army time or another service?
All Marine Corps.
All Marine, 100% Marine, okay. Thinking about before you got in the Marine Corps, how did that happen? How did you get into service and why did you join?
Well, I was a 16-year-old kid and there was a war on and I wanted to be part of it, so I enlisted.
Okay.
It's been my 17th birthday at Parris Island.
17th birthday at Parris Island. Okay. Any family had served up to that point?
My father had been in the Army, and several uncles had been in World War I.
Okay. So 1670 is very young to go into the military. Did you actually, did you have some friends that joined with you, or you just did it as a one-man show?
It was a one-man show.
How did you guys hear a lot about the war at that time? Was it mostly radio?
Radio.
Newspaper. Did you think about it for a long time before you made that decision, or was it?
No, I just wanted to go to war.
Go to war. Okay. Okay.
I went to war and then I wanted to go home.
Went to war and wanted to go home. Of course, you did a lot of time in the military from 44 to 70.
Yes.
So a lot of years, so you had a lot of jobs during that time period. You also served in Vietnam. Can you tell us a little bit more about one particular job that you thought might have been the hardest job and why it was?
I've never had a job that I didn't enjoy, but I wouldn't know what to say was my hardest job.
What about the one that was the hardest to learn, most difficult?
Electronics.
What kind of equipment were you working with?
Radios, mostly radios.
Okay. Did you actually, one thing we learned about the military is there's a lot of good instruction, a lot of good people that we learn from.
Oh, yeah.
That sometimes are role models. Can you talk about anybody in particular that was very important to you in the military that you think back on?
A lot of people, but I don't think I think of any one person.
Any particular example? Did you actually, have you been able to keep up with any of those guys in the earlier years?
My wife has kept up with her wives. She still has two that she keeps up with that are living. The rest of them are gone.
I think one time you told me there were like 7 or 8 Iwo Jima veterans that you knew about here in Spartanburg.
Oh yeah, there was a lot.
And now you may be the only one. Is there anybody else
No.
that's left? Kind of the last survivor.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. What about leaders in the military? Was there somebody that was particularly impressive that you remember admiring, and what characteristics did you admire?
I had a lot of good officers and good senior staff NCOs I admired and wanted to be like, but
Okay. Okay.
but no particular one I can think of.
Particular ones you remember. Did you find that the training that you got, whether it was basic skills or even more advanced skills like the electronic work you were talking about, did you think the training that you received was generally good?
Outstanding, yes. First I was a photographer for years, and then I got into electronics, but had a lot of good schools, and they get new equipment, they send us to learn the new equipment. And it was good.
So regular schooling.
Right, it helped me. I worked in it, same thing when I got out of the Marine Corps. It helped me a lot.
I think I've generally had to go to some school like every 2 years, 3 years, they always sent you to school. You probably had a similar experience.
Yeah, every time I come out with some new equipment, we had to go to the school. Even I was stationed in Beaufort when I retired, and I had 6 months to do, and they sent me to San Diego for a month. Some new equipment.
Yeah. You served in obviously several times in Asia. Did you ever do any duty in Europe?
Made a med cruise. They used to keep a battalion of Marines afloat in the Mediterranean.
Okay.
6 months, we hit 22 different ports.
22.
And I had several trips to the Caribbean. We used to hold maneuvers in Vieques,
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to go, but I always volunteered. So I liked it.
Usually they tell you should not raise your hand and volunteer for anything, but it sounds like you did volunteer
I did.
sometimes. Used to be a joke, right?
Yeah, it's a joke.
Yeah, yeah. Thinking about your military service and a lot of years that you served, would you be able to tell us about something from your experience in the military that really helped you in your civilian life, and even maybe today still?
Oh yeah, the schools I went to, people I met, I learned a lot from old master sergeants and officers, and
Yeah.
this has helped me in civilian life.
You think they helped you with, in addition to technical skills, maybe taught you discipline?
Oh yeah, I had absolutely no discipline when I went in.
And the military helped you?
It helped me.
We find that a lot of the people we meet are like us, that may come from different parts of the country. Did you meet a lot of people from all over the United States?
Oh yeah.
North, south?
I think my favorite people that I liked was Italians and Polacks.
Italians, Polacks. Okay, okay. Well, it's a really mixed melting pot, isn't it?
Yeah.
If a young person was considering military service today, what would you tell them?
Join the Marine Corps.
Join the Marine Corps?
Yeah.
Only the Marines, or the other branches get a chance to?
Not if you can get the Marines to do it. You know.
Why should they join the Marine Corps?
Well, I think it's the greatest myself. But of course, the Army thinks they're the greatest too.
Well, let's say they went into any of the other branches or the Marine Corps. What would they get out of it good that you think would be beneficial for them?
Well, probably the best thing to get out of it is self-discipline and learn to take care of yourself. Don't depend on mama.
Become more self-reliant.
Yeah.
Speaking of discipline, I understand you've been married for 63 years.
Been married 63 years.
Did the military teach you anything about keeping a wonderful marriage together that long?
They helped me a lot. They sent me overseas a lot. That helped.
I'm sure she had to be supportive for you.
As she was, yeah. Very supportive. She's more gung-ho than me.
Is she? Well, back in the days of, especially World War II and even in Vietnam to a large extent, it was difficult to communicate with family back home, right? I mean, you got to write letters, but it's not like today with cell phones. Were you able to stay connected to the family back home?
Oh yeah, letters, and then later, the last trip in Vietnam, we got tape recorders, talked to each other, sent the tapes.
Okay. So you actually sent little cassette tapes?
Yeah.
So you did them and sent them to the States?
And she sent them, had the kids talk to me and sing to me.
I remember those. So you had those in Vietnam already?
Yeah.
So how did you, so I guess at some point did she send you the whole little cassette player?
Yeah, she sent me a player, and I recorded the messages.
Yeah. I bet that sounded great to hear your family.
My kids, yeah.
Your kids. That would be a great thing to listen to again today, but I guess that's probably long gone, huh?
They're long gone, yeah.
Yeah. Well, how about the letters? Did you guys get mail once a week or so in the field, or where?
Oh, we got pretty regular mail. Yeah.
I tell you, you know some of the work we do here, and there's fewer and fewer World War II veterans left. And so a guy like you is pretty unique. Do you feel unique? Do you feel like you are one of the only ones?
Feel henpecked.
Okay. We're not going to share this video with your wife.
Okay.
No, it's been great talking to you, Stan. I tell you what, you're quite an inspiration for us all. I know you still get out, you still drive, you still come to lunches, and you plan on stopping someday?
Gonna have to.
Well,
I want to go on some of your trips to these hospice.
Yes.
I like to go on some of those, but I feel like I'd be in the way,
No, you wouldn't be in the way. We'd love to have you. We have almost every week. Next week we have one in east side of Spartanburg, Summit Hills. if you want to get involved with that, we'd love to have you.
Yeah, well, Gary Swistak says he'll pick me up.
Okay, good. Yeah, Gary's been a regular with us.
Yeah.
Well, all these veterans would love to see you. We'd love to have you. I hope you continue to support all the activities you can. Steve.
Oh,
Thank you so much for being on camera with us today.
pleasure.
All right, my friend.
All right.
Good to see you.